George asked if he should join and move into the temple and shave up. And Prabhupada said, no. He said, what you're doing through your music is much more important. He said, you're already a devotee of Krishna, so you continue. And he was talking about some music he had written for a singer called Lakshmi Shankar, Ravi Shankar's sister. And there was one song entitled, Krishna, Where Are You? And Prabhupada listened to that recording in George's presence, and he said, this is our Gaudiya Vaishnav mood. He said, this is very correct, that we should be crying out, Krishna, where are you? We shouldn't think that we have captured Krishna, that we know who is Krishna. And he said, this is how you can serve our society the best. Another time when we went to George Harrison's house, this is after a program at Reading. Reading is a city nearby Henley. And that's where that famous photograph was taken in the grounds of George Harrison's property. We went inside the house because when we came there, we couldn't find, or Shamsundar couldn't find where George was. But Shamsundar knew the layout of the house and knew which room we should go to. So we all went there. We went to that room and waited for George. And as we were waiting, it was getting dark. And then finally, George arrived, and he came with a big bouquet of flowers and a big basket of fruit. Because you'd never come empty-handed. You'd always want to bring something for Srila Prabhupada. So he'd actually been out, doing this, getting some gifts for Srila Prabhupada. And he presented these to Srila Prabhupada, and he paid full dandavats to Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada he said, the purpose of this human form of life is to leave this world of dark and go back to the world of light. And as he was saying this, the room was getting, because there was no light on, it was getting darker and darker and darker, and Prabhupada was emphasizing this point. Prabhupada would always be expert at using nature, any situation that he would find himself in. And he's saying, this is the world of dark. He said, this world requires illumination. And the only illumination we have is from the sun and the moon. He said, without the sunshine, there would be no life, there would be no light. And of course, when the sun sets, then we need to call upon artificial illumination, electricity, fire. He said, but in the world of light, there is no need for any kind of artificiality. He said, this is where we all wish to live, in the world of light, not in the world of dark. So he just was constantly emphasizing this particular point. And George was very much appreciating.
And then he said, what living entity eats through his feet? Krishna, he can eat through any part of his body. Any sense can do the function of any other. So there is a living entity who eats through his feet. Huh? Are you looking up? Who? So we're all scratching our heads. Oh. None of us could figure out. And Prabhupada stopped and pointed with his stick. He said, see, the tree. He is eating through his feet. It was a very sweet, little discussion with Prabhupada. It's very nice.
I remember different things on morning walks. One thing was that Prabhupada was always commenting about the state of society. And one of the things he'd noticed was these people would sleep in the parks. They'd sleep under, in the sleeping bags or just on the newspaper or whatever. So Prabhupada was just explaining how karma is such that even though you have so much advancement, he said, such an advanced society, he said, but still they can't avoid karma. So Prabhupada said, you can see these people, they're still suffering. Even though they're living in a very civilized country, still they are sleeping in a vulnerable condition. And another thing that Srila Prabhupada was pointing out one morning, we were asking him, advancement. So Prabhupada very, very determinedly stopped, and then he took one step forward, and then Prabhupada pointed to his leg and he said, when one leg is firmly fixed, then Prabhupada said, then one moves the next leg. So Prabhupada said, in that way one can make advancement. But Prabhupada said, not to run, simply falling, falling over.
Another time we were walking and there was a patch of yellow grass, and Prabhupada, in his famous way, stopped and he pointed to this patch of yellow grass and he said, so why is this grass yellow and all the rest of the other grass is green around? All the grass around is green. Why is this grass yellow? And Gurudas tried to give some philosophical explanation. There must be some reason because the nature of the soil, or because of too much rain, or Actually, it wasn't philosophical, it was like a practical explanation why the grass is yellow. And Prabhupada said, no, he said, this grass is yellow because it is detached from the root. He said, all plants get their nourishment from the root. And as soon as there's some detachment from the root, immediately there's difficulty. He said, just like we are all in difficulty in this material world because we become detached from Krishna. As soon as we're attached to Krishna, we'll become very successful in our lives.
Well, some of the instructions I absorbed from his morning walks were two important ones, I think. One was in relation to book distributions. We had some discussion about distributing records and collecting. And Prabhupada, there was quite some discussion about that, but Prabhupada made it very, very clear at that particular time, that was about 1974 also, that if you use some paraphernalia to collect funds, that is okay, but still there must be some book given. He was not at all in favor of just collecting. He said, I'm not a beggar. I never begged anything. Whenever I took some donation, I gave some literature. So I remember that was very strong. Gyanadas and myself and a few were discussing that with him one morning. Another morning, walking through the village and around the fields here, we talked about cleanliness. And one devotee thought he was doing the right thing. He piped up and said that in the Edinburgh temple, we exterminated all of the... Because this Prabhupada was talking about, if you're not clean, then some rats and mice and things will come. So one devotee, without thinking very clearly, I don't think, just piped up and said, oh, we had all the rats and mice exterminated, killed in the Edinburgh temple. And Prabhupada turned on him quite strongly and said, you should be killed. I won't mention the devotee's name. He's a nice devotee, but Prabhupada was very angry that they exterminated vermin. His point was that the temple should be so spotless that what will they come for? There's nothing to eat.
Okay, well, one time Prabhupada was very ill, and that was a time when he actually collapsed in his room. Shyam Sundar, it was late at night, and Shyam Sundar rushed in and just called Prabhupada. But he said that Prabhupada didn't fall as such, but he just sort of he was very weak. He called out to Shyam Sundar. And Shyam Sundar said when he went in there, and Prabhupada kind of fell into his arms. And he said Prabhupada was incredibly light. So what we did then, we all actually stayed in bed that morning. No one got up because we didn't want to disturb Prabhupada at all. And when we got up, everyone had to be really quiet. And we had 24-hour kirtan, very nice kirtan in the temple. Anyway, about 3 days later, we were just walking on a morning walk with Prabhupada. Suddenly Prabhupada got really well again. And we're on this morning walk. And one of the devotees said to Prabhupada, he said that, Srila Prabhupada, how is it that a pure devotee, someone who's a pure devotee, how does he get sick? And Prabhupada stopped, and I always remember it because it was so loving. Prabhupada's eyes got really big, like Prabhupada used to, his eyes would get very big. And he stopped, and he became very emotional, and Prabhupada said, it is just like the lover. Prabhupada said, sometimes the lover, what is this? And Prabhupada went like that, what is it? Sometimes they're biting, like this. And we said, oh, love bite, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, yes. So Prabhupada said, similarly, Krishna, he has his love bites. So sometimes he bites the devotee. And then he smiled. But it was very, you could tell it was very that it was very deep.